Welcome everybody to the flow from Om School Live. I see that we've got some wonderful people here with us already. Good morning, good day, hello. And GP, you are looking snazzy. Oh, today is a show that will hopefully shift the entire world in a very positive way. And women, I'm calling upon all of you because we have a job to do, and we're going to do this job with the help of GP. Today's show is titled Women, Goddess, and Queen. And we are all of them, less women, but it's not that we don't need you, men. We need you. We need you more than ever. So stay tuned. You're here for the duration of this show. Now, this show is, complete in its entirety right now, right here. However, this is actually a show that if you want to take it a step further, we're going to be announcing a class that you can join later at a later date. But this is the most important beginning step. And Women, Goddess, Queen. I myself, GP, even had issues just with the terms, the names alone, because they don't mean what they should. And I'm going to quote you and then jump in. So GP shares this with us. The world needs women who have discovered and are embodying their power, not the power of men, but the inherent power that is unique to women. This is where I want to start and go with this, GP, because we've got it. It's like we're playing a board game and we read the wrong directions, the game, the rules. I feel like we got it mixed up. So can we kind of go with, I know as a woman, I feel like always wrong. Like I can't win because I'm trying to be a man. So that's a bit of a tweak thing. So let's start there. Why are women trying to be manpower and men have almost accepted it or really fought us and we don't know what to do?
Well, it's due to the culture that we're in. It's a patriarchal system. It is lopsided towards men, and so it's always the male aspect of organization and power has become dominant. That's become the model, and it's become so dominant that women have to conform to it or be powerless. But it's completely unnatural for women to conform to the male way of doing things. It was never meant to be that way. We didn't evolve for that. We didn't, the difference in the genders evolved quite dramatically as a mechanism of survival, of course, and the division of labor between the genders made it possible for us to become so adaptive and successful. And it was absolutely necessary considering how damn long it takes to raise a human kid. It's not like a horse they drop in the morning and in the afternoon they're running around, right? I mean, the woman drops it in the morning and it's like 18 years.
And then some.
And these days, then some. And he's, 30, he's still living in your basement, right? So it's the entire nature of feminine power has been lost. It's completely, it's so lost that women don't even know how to get in touch with it. And so trying to be successful in a man's world is a waste of time. If you are, you lose your essential quality and you become a Hillary Clinton or a Margaret Thatcher, right? Who have so mastered male power and politics and manipulation and the like that they pose no real threat to the male hierarchy. They're active participators in it. She's more masculine than Bill Clinton, for crying out loud.
Well, and that's something that was the first thing that really helped shift for me was when I recognized, as you were saying this, that wow, we don't want to try to conform, as you said, to this model it's not for women. The model's not made for women. And
No.
it's not that, men are saying, you can't play with us. It's not that at all. It's not, we can do it better.
Well, they're doing that too.
Well, yes. But the thing is, I guess, is that it's the wrong game.
It's the wrong game.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
the wrong model. It's the wrong game. So when I heard that, it actually made me feel, again, I love when this happens, let me off the hook. It explains why I could never feel right, no matter what I did. If I was living that, in the man's world, or, I felt very natural, just nurturing my babies and my kitties and stuff. But then yet I don't feel enough. And so there's this, we can't win unless we have this shift. I love that you said the word lopsided. That's a good word,
Yes.
lopsided. And
Yeah.
so what is the nature of women power? Female
Well,
power.
this is treacherous ground for me to walk on. I,
You
I
male.
admit that. I admit that up front, for a variety of reasons. Number one, I'm a man, and number two, that the definition of power, the definition of womanhood, and what's naturally feminine, right, has been defined within this male-oriented context, right? And so, a certain subset of characteristics we identify as feminine, like, nurturing and receptive and that sort of thing, they can be allowed, right? So that, and then when it's restricted to that, then the depth of emotion that a woman can feel gets reduced to sentimentality, and, she becomes weak, right? And so she's relegated to the role of, mother, right, or broodmare, if which is in the home, in the kitchen, all of that kind of stuff. She can't be in the man's world, and so you can see it's just this schism. The world itself has been divided, as if the home and the life outside the home and the body politic can be separated, right? But that's exactly what we've done. We've created this schism between the two. And so, because men have controlled the world of pretty much everything, politics, economics, all power, war, all of it, right? And women have been completely excluded from it. The only way they've been able to become included is to play that game, right? But what really it needs is that characteristic of the nurturing, of inclusion, of the communal, of life in the village, needs to take over this world, right? And this world, the world of men, has to become subordinate to that, to do what it was meant to do, which is protect it, not dominate it. And that's the shift that took place when we went from hunter-gatherers to agriculture, when property became more important than nature, and when hierarchies and specialization, the masculine model for organization, which is purely hierarchical, took over. And now it's regarded as being the only thing. I mean, I've even heard right-wing apologists like Jordan Peterson saying hierarchy is the only way humans can organize. I go, what?
Right.
What planet are you from?
The wrong one. That's such a highlight there, is that for males, it's such an honor. It's their nature to protect, not dominate.
Yes.
And that is so powerful, because you can see in any type of relationship, it could be between father and son. There doesn't even need to be a woman in that statement.
Yes.
It's the men alone. And so it's funny because
Yes.
yeah, if we're I remember that feeling instantly when any woman hears you belong in the kitchen, you belong somewhere. It's always such an internal, like, "Ugh." And if we don't have there's my word, and if we don't have that love for ourselves, we can become either like, yeah, I guess that's where I belong, I better do what I'm told. We step into that dominated, is that a word? Yes. Dominated position, and we can't get out because there's this belief. So for women,
Yes.
yeah. So for women, I like to talk about the word, I guess, competing, but not competing for power. But how can we all work together? If women were to step into that power, okay, wait a second, because you taught me something. Can you share with all our wonderful viewers? It's not about stepping into our power for women. It's not about gaining power. You said it
Right.
beautifully before. How can you describe power for women?
Well, power for women is inherent. It's it's unmovable conviction, right? It is simply standing in the place of the wisdom that knows the nature of things. The woman represents nature, the earth. That's what, that's the whole thing behind the goddess. It's right. The goddess is an inherent ability. It's an inherent power. It is an archetype, which means it is an aspect of your nature, right? And so it knows its own immortality. It knows the value of everything. And knowing that value, the inherent value of things, right? And knowing that value is what makes your concern for the community, for legacy, and that's a conviction that isn't acquired. You don't acquire that, right? You simply see the value of things. Whereas with the male, the value of things is not inherent. It's relational. It is this moment. What value does it have now? And when you look at it purely from an evolutionary point of view, it makes sense, right? Because the job of the man was to take care of the immediate. It was to protect from imminent danger. It was to go find food now, right? And bring it back. That was the job. And so everything became interpreted in the point of view of its usefulness within the context of this moment and what had to be done, right? Whereas the woman in the community, you had multiple generations living side all the time. Children were not raised by one; they were raised by the village. They were raised by everyone, and there was this natural organization around inclusion and communal and a recognition of each other's gifts and that sort of thing. But it was something for generations, not for this moment, right?
Right.
And so it is the feminine aspect that perceives that the long-term value of things, right? And the masculine energy, which perceives the immediate relative value of things. Now, you can see both of those are significant. And in fact, both genders have access to that energy.
Yeah, I was
Right?
just going to ask you that.
Yes, of course. If we begin to identify more with the transcendent self and not with the particular gender definition, which will always be culturally determined. And that's what allows us to step outside of it. That's what allows us to step outside of just the aggressive male and still be very masculine, right?
Mm.
But wise instead to take on the role of protector, but not of soldier. Right?
Oh.
Right? The warrior is not the centurion. I'm going to do a class for the men as well, because the warrior archetype is a very powerful one, but it's not what we think of these days. It's defending something greater than yourself. Simple as that.
Mm.
And what and it's women who show us what's worth protecting.
Yay. and
It's not my stock price.
that's so interesting of what's is this is so interesting because the culture, the world that we live in is so throwaway, one use only. It's very difficult. I can feel this too as a woman to say what is valuable long term or not, because this culture around me is telling me you can buy a new one, and that thing that you're trying to hang on to that you think has value, nobody else really values it. So there's this battle of
Yes.
how long term is long term anymore? How are we measuring what long term is? A month?
Yeah, and that's a direct byproduct of the switch from the hunter-gatherers, which were dependent upon nature providing for them, right, to the agriculture where we were now producing and storing food. We actually had some control over nature, and at that point, value became associated with property and accumulation. Right? It was no longer my value within the context of the tribe or within nature. It was my value relative to somebody else. I had more than them, right? And that just continues because the throwaway culture we live in is a product of the fact that we want more and more and more. And if I'm going to have more and more and more, I've got to make things that last less and less time. And so you can buy more and more and more, and then I will have more and more of the profit. And in this state of mind, as you can see, there's no such thing as enough. The goal is more. and more has to exhaust itself at some point.
has has that that right there taken away something for women to ground ourselves to then and be the queen about, like, I find a struggle to be a queen around certain things because it's just yes, like I don't have it to be a queen for. Like it's not, it doesn't exist anymore. So in the note, so there's an internal non-satisfied, I can't give my value, I can't do my value. This is different than power. So value is power and value similar? Are they linked somehow there?
um, the one who knows their value is empowered. Right? Remember, power is simply the capacity to act.
Right.
It is the ability to act, right? And when you know your worth, you are empowered to act on it, right? But knowing your worth means it's inherent. It is not acquired. It is not the worth that has been given to you by the culture, right? The worth that's been given to women by the culture is a fraction of the value of women.
Okay.
You've been thrown into this little box to serve the interests of the culture, which is dominantly male, right? And so women now are commodities, they're objects, they have certain purposes, even in the Abrahamic religions, you're supposed to be treated real well, but you must obey the man, even if he's an idiot. Um, and this is the way God made it. Of course, God in this culture is a man.
Yes.
How weird is that? Without a consort,
Right. Yes.
without a woman anywhere in the picture, right? And so we have the weirdest twist in nature you could possibly imagine, man being the creator of life. Whereas universally, it's women. Obviously.
It's not a better than. And it's not even equal to. It's cooperative. It's functioning because we both need each other for
It's
survival.
complementary.
Complementary. Yes, that's the
It's
word.
complementary, right? Yes, it has nothing. We confuse equality, political and economic equality,
Hmm.
the with sameness, right? Right, but it's like a flute and a violin are not at all alike, and together they sound wonderful, right?
Yes.
Red and blue are nothing alike, but together they make purple, and there'd be no purple without it. So it is this blending of the primary energies, which are the archetypes. Are a good word for those. When they blend together, all sorts of different things come out of it that wouldn't happen otherwise. But the only way that can happen is if blue is fully blue and red is fully red. Right?
Yes. Oh. Oh. Oh, I like that. Hold on. That's good. And that comes to alignment with I've always been this way with, well, again, my parents. You never say you found your other half because you are whole. You found another
Yeah.
whole, but you've not found your other half, and I know that's a romantic, beautiful statement, and people, I don't want to
Well,
people for saying
there's
that.
there's some truth to it. It's it's part of the mystery of life, which is what we refer to as non-duality, and that is I am complete, and you complete me.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now,
Oh,
you can't
that's
explain that, but
beautiful.
that's exactly the experience. When it's a healthy relationship between two fully functioning um, adults, there's a sense of being completed and at the same time being complete. Right?
Yes.
So my completeness, it's like, within my completeness, the completeness of blue and the completeness of red is what makes purple. And there's a completeness in the purple, right?
Yes.
So, the masculine and the feminine are the primary colors, right? It was the first split of the I am. It was the beginning of all. It was the beginning of all life, uh, and the original, but the original is regarded as feminine.
Okay, well, a question then for talking about the word gender. There are so many now that we are. supposed to, I'm going to use that word because I'm allowed to say that we're supposed to recognize. I can't even
Mhm.
keep up with them all. And they're very simple to me in my mind. So what they are, have we lost by accepting? Nope. New question. Is it because of the male, the hierarchy, this model? Is that where this non-gender is coming from, or is the all the different genders coming from trying to rebalance itself?
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. It's a it's a natural attempt to try to rebalance the energies. And if the culture is so far out of skew, then it can get balanced in me. The Native Americans recognized different genders, not just two.
That's right.
And some were referred to as the two spirits, right? Because it happened, therefore it was natural, right?
Right.
Only a culture that's dominated by one gender is going to call something natural and unnatural. But how can you say that? It happened, right? They weren't made in a lab, you know. The Wall Street, that's unnatural.
Very true. Very true. So is when someone says they feel this way or feel that way, is it that they're just tuning into everything they feel and don't really have a name yet? So they're just gonna they're kind of reaching for the closest they can to describe. And
Well,
I'm bringing this.
there's two things at play here. One is that which is trying to define gender, but the other is also a natural transcendence of identification with the body, which is the destiny of consciousness, because you're not the body. That original definition of yourself, that identification with the body that happened very early on, which then conformed you. So now I am a man or a boy, I am a girl. And then as a result, because it's a belief, I am the body and not the truth, the that belief just morphed itself to fit within the cultural definition, right? But now when the cultural definition begins to fall apart, so does all of the mandates of how somebody is supposed to be or not supposed to be. And
Mm,
so that identification with the body isn't as powerful anymore. It's not as absolute. And so there's this whole range for you to play. And it's a whole continuum. I mean, it's not just, this or that. There's a whole continuum there. And it becomes the necessity of every individual to find out where they fit on that,
mm.
right? And when I am no longer the body, well, then who am I, right? Now, the who you are is beyond all definitions, right? It's transcendent of all human research. I mean, yeah, right? And therefore, it becomes just how I'm going to be in the world for whatever feels natural, but it does not define me. And and the only problem with it is that the culture doesn't accept it.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's the
Okay.
only problem. Yeah.
Yes. We're back to
Other-
culture here. So we're really looking for a massive shift. It's more than a shift in culture. We are looking to, and we're not redefining it, or are we? Is the shift going to create a new definition that we could get into trouble all over again, or is it just coming back to a natural state?
Well, it could. Lots of shifts have taken place over history that just ended up being another mess, right?
Yes.
And then a lot of messes ended up being a lot of good stuff, right? So this is kind of just the yin yang of it as it's going on. My perception of what's happening today is that this shift is not a micro shift within a larger context. That it is an end of an epoch. That it represents a world as different to us as the world of agriculture was to the hunter gatherer.
Wow. Yes.
This is the end of an epoch. It's the end of a 13,000-year cycle, and 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 so in such a thing, all systems collapse and are rebuilt, because that's exactly what happened. If you look at the culture of the hunter gatherer, and you look at the culture of even the primitive city states, the original organization, let alone comparison to New York City or something, you can see there's just no comparison. They apples and oranges, right?
The Big Apple? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Because
big apple and big oranges. So so this is a shift in that, in the underpinnings that give rise to the individual city states and cultures and things like that. And it's the new definition is going to be the definition that comes from women, and that the feminine definition, because the feminine definition is in touch with earth. It is willingly self-limiting. It recognizes nature, whereas the male wants to dominate nature. Women are nature.
that's
It's
beautiful.
why the earth has always been recognized as the goddess. In many cultures, the sun was feminine, right?
Hmm. Um, I just have to sit on this one thing you said. I like this, that women, nature will recognize limits. And that's so important because it's a man who is in protect. He needs to protect. So there cannot be a limit. It can't be like, I'm too tired. I know that thing's after you, but I'm tired. I have a limit. It
Exactly.
He has to be
Exactly.
limitless. He has to keep
Yes.
going, but it's not natural. So a woman, that power will recognize that a certain thing has a limit, so that we can protect it, or not protect, nurture it, save it, preserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no nurturing if there's nothing to protect. If everything is just, you know, unlimited and all that, there's nothing to nurture, right? And the nurturing aspect that takes something from its place of weakness and dependence into independence and strength, and eventually into interdependence and strength, right? And we got stalled on the independence part of it, right? So it becomes the I culture. It's got to go beyond that to the where men recognize their real role is the protection of the earth and everything on it, and then we will learn to willingly concede to the limits of nature,
Mm.
which the egoic mind does not want to do. It wants to dominate it. And our religion says we're supposed to have dominion over the earth, right? And nature, which has fallen, right? And so we're supposed to redeem nature. It's insanity.
It really is, actually.
It's insanity.
So
Yes.
as we begin to, and I like this, redefine. Yeah, I like that. Redefine culture. Yes, redefine culture. To me, in a weird way, it feels good. Like, I know there's fear around it. So what is stepping forward from us, from ourselves, which the ego or whatever, to say, "Ooh, that's changed and I don't like it. That's going to be a mess," or "Ooh, I know this looks like a mess, but it feels right."
Well, this is the transcendence that is the hallmark of this age. Whereas men want to dominate, women can integrate.
Integrate. Okay.
And so the transcendence means an integration. It doesn't mean a domination, right? So that there's no way we can deny and get rid of our animal nature. We can't do it. It's how we function in the world. Trying to has been, that's the whole goal of the Abrahamic religions, is to dominate your animal nature, right? Because it's inherently sinful. And
Mm.
therefore you can't feel these things, you can't do these things. This is the way. So everything is rules and laws and obligation. But if instead it becomes an absorption into yourself, a transcendence that acknowledges and includes, which is the feminine principle, right? It can now go to a place beyond it, that now redeems it and transforms it, right? Rather than it dominating or it being dominated, it now serves, right?
Mm.
And this is the energy of the heart, the energy of the peacemaker, the fourth chakra. This is the Christ energy, right? Which is pure femininity, pure receptivity, right? pure unconditional love. Right? That is the womb of being, right? This is where the divine and the human intersect. This is where the animal and our spiritual nature mold into one to make life, to make truly a true human being, right? Because we're not yet.
That's fascinating. And it's also fascinating whenever I think of like women trying to dominate or wait, hold on. So if women dominate, do men integrate? Because if we don't do one, but maybe they don't, we shouldn't expect men to.
We have to learn to, right? The big difference between the genders is that women come to it naturally, men don't.
Okay.
And so if a man is not initiated, if a boy is not initiated into manhood, which is a set of rituals we've lost centuries ago, he remains a boy in his energy. He has boy ideals, he has boy values, he has boy instincts, right? He has not been learned through confronting his own mortality, his relationship to the whole and his need to protect it. Mm-hmm. And this is where you get boys in men's bodies. They're self-serving, they're aggressive, they want to win at the expense of somebody else. They cannot see the interconnectedness of life. Only the man can. And so at that point, the male energy then subordinates itself to the feminine power, which is the creative power of life. And this is this is metaphorical and mythological, because it happens in every individual, but happening in every individual, it then can reflect in our world in a true harmonious flowing relationship between the genders, and then humanity will survive. If that doesn't happen, we won't.
And to that, and Tatiana's quote here from the Dalai Lama, "The world will be saved by the Western woman," is interesting, because I can already just feel the cringe of the boy men who are like, "Those women aren't going to save us." Like they're like, I can feel in here the word.
And anyone who says that is a man boy.
Feel that. How? So where do I want to go on this one? In the woman's life right now, let's see, and I would love to have any comments come up about this one. We've got a couple things that we really, I think women are super struggling with, is career and relationships. Trying to have a relationship with a man or a boy man, or trying to fit into the man's world at work, or in career. What does a woman do if she really is like a single mom and she's got to go to work and pay the bills and raise her children and do this? Like, just find a community and hope they invite her in.
Well, this is the dilemma that we face, because we have no structures. Right. We have no social structures in place for that. Women have been forced to conform to a man's definition of the male definition of things. It's not even man, it's a boy. It's not man. It's not right. It's not the liberated masculine. It is the man baby, right? And look at the politicians, they're all man babies. They're tyrants, they're petty, they're manipulative, they're narcissistic, they're gaslighters, right? Those aren't men.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Those are children. They need to be scolded, right? So it's not going to be an easy time, right? It's going to be difficult for women to claim back that territory, first within and then without, because men also don't want to give it up. The boys don't want to give it up, right? They want it to be an all boys club, right? Girls aren't allowed, right? Put the sign on the door, right?
Keep growing
so yes, women must exercise their biggest power, which is community.
Oh, that sounds so beautiful. Oh, I love that. Oh, I got put a timestamp so I know where to find that one.
Yeah.
That was good. Anybody love that one, especially let us know. And please subscribe to us too, and make sure that you continue to join us, because these conversations right now are, they're like, we finally, for me, as I'm asking you, GP, the student showing up here, is I'm feeling the lesson. I'm starting to embody. No, I'm not yet. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it because it feels right. And then I want to learn how to embody this. How can I, like you said, claim? I like that word, to reclaim
Hmm.
something that is inherent, that I already have. It's me, but I have stopped it because the culture isn't supporting me with it. And if
Right.
I, as a woman, want to help make this shift, then I'm going to exercise my biggest power, which I love what you said, which is community. And I asking you for the answers or for everything. What might that look like? Calling up my girlfriend and saying, "Do you want to bake bread together?" Like, I don't know. It's big.
Anything, anything like that. Absolutely anything like it. Getting a bunch of people together and make bread, bread for the homeless or bread for your community, right? Get together to share, babysitting or cat sitting,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Things.
to kind of to demonstrate a different way of organizing culture,
Ooh, okay, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you'll find that it becomes scalable, right?
Okay.
Right. So I mean, you have to use what comes naturally to women, and relationships is a whole area that I could spend all the time about, and there'll be a big section in the class about relationship, because the reality is you cannot have a real relationship with a man boy. He's a boy, right? He's going
Exactly.
to show up as a boy. He's going to act like a boy, right? He's not going to know who he is, and he's not going to be able to value you because he has no idea the worth of a woman. He doesn't know what a woman is. When you're a man boy, every woman is your mother or an object of desire, period.
Yes, you nailed those two. Yeah, that's
That's it.
yes.
And that's the big thing. The boy has to be separated from his mother. I mean, male initiation rituals traditionally were serious events. I mean, they literally faced death, and some of them actually did die. I mean, that's how severe it was. You were put right to the edge, right?
Yeah.
And you had to live in order to be regarded as a man. And that's it. You have to face your own mortality. The boy, the the myths, the legends, the gods of the boy are your comic book heroes. They are the characters in video games. They never really die and they always win, right? They may have a flaw, but that's only to make it interesting, right? They never ever lose. They are invincible. This is the ideology. These are the myths of the of the child, of the boy.
Mhm.
And they have to be broken. He has to see that he's not Superman. He never will be. And the only way to survive is in cooperation with others, serving a purpose greater than himself.
Now, when you said about the boy has to be broken from his mother, is that a woman's role to do that, or other men to do that?
She has to participate in it because a lot of women hang on to their hand. A lot of women, because the roles have been so constricted, women get highly identified with motherhood,
I
and therefore
yeah.
lose touch with all the other aspects of women. They lose touch with their power. They lose touch with the sexuality, right? They and so they become the mother. I'm the mother. It's all about being the mother, which of course completely, puts the man out of the relation. If he doesn't want if he's a real man, he doesn't want a relationship with a mother. He wants a hot babe, right? Kids are great. I'll do my job with the kids, but and so that whole that her job is to let him go, to kick him out of the nest. In the traditional male initiation ritual, she participated in it. right?
Okay.
The men would come up in costumes and scary stuff in the middle of the night, drag the kid out of bed. She'd hold on to his leg, knowing full well what's going to happen. She'd go through the whole drama until finally she had to let him go, right? And he would be taken violently out of his mother's protection and into this place where he was on his own. And so she did participate, and she knew it was coming, and she wanted it. She wanted it to come. She didn't cling, which is not what we have these days.
I like that well, not that I like that vision, but I can understand that vision because as that boy is being taken from his mom, he is witnessing that she loves him, that she cares, that she wants him, that he is wanted. And so as he goes or is taken, then there's this. So she's still able to fulfill her. I showed my boy that I love him, that I yeah, care for him so much, but I trust that he will
Yeah, yes,
do
and
it.
all of that's gone.
Right.
None of that will help him.
Right. No,
That's great,
not
but
it.
that $5 will get you a latte anywhere in town.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So that's more just, yeah, part of it. And also to bring that back is that for the man, it's the immediate. He needs to immediately now protect himself, and the woman is the long term. Here, I must. So this is so fascinating. Like we said, it's about relationships and in well, yeah, relationships, because how we relate to people and how. So I wanted to just before I don't want to run out of time on this one. If okay, without finding the proper words right now, what I want to go into is a woman and the different times in her life that she is going, the mothering part where she has her babies. Now she doesn't have babies. Now they're grown up. So what role is she stepping into now? How can she still have that her power and and be in queen mode?
Yes, well, queen represents power. It represents authority, and it represents inherent power.
Okay.
The queen is not given the queendom. She's born in it. She is born the queen, right? And so what she says goes. There isn't any discussion. This is the law, right? I mean, and that is the kind of authority that the archetype of the queen represents, that is within every woman. That level of authority, because you are born to it, right? Now it can be robbed, just like in the myths and the fairy tales where the princess is whisked away in the middle of the night, or stolen, or put to sleep, or something like that. Um, Whisked away and given to peasants and raised as a peasant, doesn't know she's actually the princess.
Oh, right.
That's what these things all represent. They represent this essential energy that has been hidden even from you. And the whole hero's journey or heroine's journey is the recovery of that, the recovery, the realization of your true identity, and then stepping into that step, being willing to accept that as a fact and everything that goes along with it. I don't think I answered your question.
No,
I
but
went off on a
I'm loving the word recovery because I'm thinking about disk recovery on a computer when you need to recover something, right? Because you had it was there and it did something somewhere, and then now you have the ability to or option to recover it. So it's not just so much reclaiming; it's even it's more feminine to recover something.
Yes, because it was covered up, you're uncovering, right?
Right.
Right? You're realizing who you really are. And the impact of that is that it is inherent knowledge, right? It is, oh, I am this. I don't have to acquire it. I don't have to do anything. Nobody can tell me whether I have it or not, right? I don't need anybody's approval.
Right. So I'm gonna. That's how I can tie this in. Is about when a lot of women are just fearing that we are going to become useless, expiry date. Um,
Yes.
it's the remembering or recalling or recovering that we are not our bodies. So though we can do different things with these bodies as we get older,
Yes.
maybe it's sharing of wisdom. It's that that's where we really have to. It's we can't let the society dictate our value. We have to remember. We
Correct.
have to know it.
Correct. And so these are all the different phases that people go through, and both men and women, when they get to elderhood, it becomes about legacy.
Yes.
It is the wisdom. It is the wisdom that gets passed on to the next generation, and the generations after that. Um, uh, this is the continuity of life, right? So that a survival instinct isn't just you; it is we, right? And so all the best qualities get, get get passed on. All the wisdom gets passed on, and so that same the authority becomes bigger the older
Mm.
you get. The queen becomes more powerful the older she gets. Right? Now, in our culture, it's exactly the opposite, because if her only job is to be a sex object, then the tiniest little wrinkle or sag, and she's just being demoted. I think it was Isabella Rossellini, who is she's a wonderful actress. She was a model for L'Oreal or one of these things, right? And of course, they canceled her contract. She said, "I made the terrible mistake of turning 40."
Oh, geez. Yes. Yes.
I mean, she's still drop dead gorgeous, right? But no,
Yeah.
that's it, right? No more multi-million-dollar contract. They want some kid. But this is the way the culture works, because women are exploited for. This is what happens when boys get men's bodies, but don't become men. Instead of protectors, they become exploiters. They exploit children, they exploit women, they exploit animals, they exploit the land, they exploit resources, they exploit everything. Look around.
Yeah.
That's what we have.
Yeah. It's sad.
Children are not to be nurtured. You sell them shit on Saturday morning,
Mm.
or you tell them how to nag their parents so that the parents will go buy shit they don't need.
Mhm.
This is what happens when men have gotten out of balance, and are not men, and have forgotten their role and the significance of the feminine. The feminine model has always been the ultimate creator.
Mm.
In the West, because we inherited this insane Abrahamic model of God as creator, it just kind of has stuff and makes a thing separate from itself, right?
Mhm.
In the East, in the Hindu and the like, and in the Tao, creation was contained within the universe. So it was always in the universe. And so the universe was the womb of being. The
Oh.
universe is the feminine. And she gives birth within herself. It's
Mm.
not even this separation thing. It all happens within the womb of the goddess. And this is what we are here to protect.
I just think that's so beautiful. I love hearing that. It's so beautiful, and it should be, because it is. And I want to just thank you so much, Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but thank you. So I'm so glad that you are here to hear this today, and we can hear more. And I want to take this opportunity. Ah, my bell!
Oh my
Ding ding
God.
ding ding! I
Wait,
just
wait,
came
wait.
over there, but I was like, just one. Perfect. Thank you. To you protected that. Thank you so much. Now that's a
See?
man. All right.
Got your back. Got your back, baby.
That's beautiful. So when I do have my bell for recess so that I can share with everybody, the shows are fantastic. Every time that you come and join us here on the flow, we are trying to give enough that you feel really good about it. But if you wanted to take it further, we run course. GP has these beautiful courses, and we are doing a 2 hour. Now we say 2 hours. I don't know that GP knows what 2 hours is. A 2 hour class that you can join, and it's going to be, there's three of them. So there's one for women and one for men, and then one for collecting it all together. But I love that it's titled Women, Goddess, and Queen. And there, oh, it's right there. Thank you. So if you would love to join us, this is going to be, now we're just touching on the teeniest, tiniest things right here. This really goes into quite an in-depth conversation, and where you can participate. You can ask these questions, go, why is this so messed up in my life then? Because this is where we get some really deep answers, and you can go deeper at a personal level with this one. So please join us. There's an early bird special right now. You can save $36, I believe, and it's
Yes.
only it's you're gonna love this. It's November 11th at, which is a goddess number, we've learned, at
Yes.
1 p.m. Eastern time, and the early bird price right now is only $111 US.
That's right.
So
1111 at 1 for 111.
yeah, we're having fun with this one. With this one. And so please go, you know what, even just go check this out, because I have to tell you, GP is wonderful. He's a teacher, he's a perfect teacher. So even by going to the page to read about the class itself, you are going to learn. So it's a fun place just to go in, and just kind of you'll understand even more so now what we've been talking about here. It really, you've wrapped it into it. So I think it's just beautiful. If you know somebody who maybe it's not for you, but you're thinking, wow, you know what, I really feel like some other friends of mine, women who have been disconnected from their power, and you think this is a great idea, whether it's a gift or you're just letting them know, please invite them to check this out and to watch our show. So so that's our recess. Anything you'd like to say about the upcoming?
Well, just that the events will be exclusively for the gender. The women's is for nothing but women, and the men's will be nothing but men. And there's a special little bonus class. One of my students has volunteered to do a special movement and ritual workshop separate from that. And she even made it clear to me that I wasn't allowed there, because any male presence whatsoever will interfere with the energy of these rituals. So it's the kind of stuff that helps you embody the goddess and the queen, right? Rather than just talk about them. She'll give real practices for you to do that. And I'm going to discuss some of that as well. But it'll be coming from somebody who is a goddess.
Oh, she absolutely is, and she's
Yeah.
really, really good at this. She's so loving, and you feel immediately trusted. You feel like you've gone back into a womb, and you're already being snuggled all up and comforted. So, yes,
So
thank you.
that's actually included. It's a separate day. It's going to be after it, right? So it's not like they're just going to all run together and they're going to give her 15 minutes. She's going to have her own space for it. So it's really quite a bit of that you're going to get.
It's the practicum almost. You would say, when
yes,
yeah,
the lecture in the lab. Yeah.
yes. Well, thank you for that. And it's necessary to integrate this. So it's, you're involving all senses. And I hope that so many people get to experience this. So I do believe, just by this one class alone, and with the accompanying embodiment rituals, that we can make a shift I know my world has already shifted. Just for me, nobody else had to change around me. But once I reclaimed that power, recovered that power, life is already showing up. Evidence is showing up different. It's beautiful.
You're connecting with the power. It isn't personal power anymore, right?
Right.
It's personal power when I'm identified with the body and I'm trying to do stuff. But when I hook up with this, I'm hooking up to the power of life itself.
Yes. Oh, that's why it feels so good. See,
that's why it feels so damn good.
So good. and so let's just, because we're wrapping up here. So I hello to everybody again, always. And I just want, if there are questions or more comments, because I'm loving some of the comments and statements here. Exploiters, if they are not grown-up men. Thank you, GP. That explains so much. Oh, look at that. That's all we needed to say. Man would say, I rule the roost, while women would say, I rule the rooster. Oh, that's funny. The neck and the head thing, right? The head of the home, but the woman is the neck who controls the head.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's a topic that it absolutely is needed by all. We all need this. This isn't like, oh, we're just dealing with just money or just relationships. This is truly
well, all of those have been determined by the cultural model.
Yes.
All relationships have been determined by the cultural model based on the definitions of everything. and And when the male is dominant, things get objectified. And if the male is not actually in his full male energy, he's still the boy, it gets objectified with no real point of reference. It becomes all fantasy, and that's the nature of the ego. It has no real reference point. The real reference point is the earth, is nature itself, right? When we don't have a reference point, we get all the isms. We get capitalism, we get socialism, we get communism, we get libertarianism, we get anarchy, we get all the different forms. And look, all of those are human-centered.
Right. Yes.
Right. What we need is Earthism.
Oh, I love that.
Of voluntarily recognizing the limitations of nature itself and harmonizing with it. That's the flow. That's the Tao. And then we have unlimited resources. So that's where it has to become. The limits are not, they're hard limits that we have to accept. The ego can't accept that. It wants the boyish mind believes that there's just no end to it, right? Perpetual growth. We keep thinking about the GNP has to grow, right? How? The only thing that grows perpetually is cancer.
Yes. And you know what? You just explained something to me. Maybe I feel like you just did. This is an aha. Is that I know so many more men who are they're more afraid of life ending than women. Like they have this fear of dying and death because it's a limit. Whereas I'm starting to connect the dots here, going, oh, because I think maybe women is connected to the power, and so we know it's that we will go on. But yeah, am I going somewhere with that? Because wait a second,
No, I think that's quite accurate because women feel that the generational thing, right?
yes, yeah,
And that was part of the whole design of woman, right?
right, yeah.
Which works. I mean, I have no issues with the design. Like totally
Right.
worked for me.
Yes,
But for men, everything is so immediate, right? I mean, what am I going to do, right, when I die? Because
right,
everything is defined so narrowly, right? And so yes, it is a fact. It's one of the factors that things that factor in, because at the end, it's like, what's my worth, right?
right. Back to there. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
it's fascinating. I feel like once we like this is mental for me. I'm grasping it mentally, but it actually is. It's showing me why and how, so that now I have this. All right, this is what went wrong, so to speak, the wrong model, the wrong this, the wrong feeling.
Mhm.
And now I can truly take off these coats and uncover how
Yes.
the love, the power, that what I'm truly feeling and what they're
A-
feeling.
And notice that I'm not drawing these conclusions that I'm handing out here from any ism. I'm drawing it from nature itself. I'm simply looking at the way nature functions. And I'm saying, okay, well, this is how it works then. This is the model by which we should be willingly organizing ourselves to match it, right? Because this is life. And I can't get rid of the fact that I now have conscious ability, that I can, in fact, affect things, right? I'm not going to go back to being a hunter gatherer. I like indoor plumbing, right?
Me too.
So, but there's no need to, if I can willingly use a reference point such as just the nature of itself. So everything I'm saying it has been derived from that. And if you tell me it's wrong, I will say, okay, just show me in nature itself. Don't point to an ism. It's no religious point of view or what it says in the Bible or the Quran, right? So show me in actual life itself, right? This is
Mm.
where I derive it all from. So I don't have an ism.
Yes. Oh, I love this. And you know what? You just actually gave me a little bit more oomph to when people say, go in nature, take a walk, be one with the animals. But now it means so much more. And I have a new statement that I'm gonna do. Instead of show me the money, it's gonna be show me the nature.
Yes. Well,
Oh.
the earth is the mother of us all.
Mm.
That's why in most primitive, what we call primitive, it's technologically primitive, actually, just Aboriginal peoples were matriarchal.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They recognized that lineage.
Yeah. My goodness. Well, see, this is why this course is so necessary. This upcoming course on November 11th, by the way, again at 1 p.m. Eastern. And the new price right now, the early bird price is $111. If you like to take this further and like you can only imagine, like my mind's already been going deep on this, and I hope I want to share it with everybody. I want all the women to come to the women one, and all the men you can come the next week after that on the 18th for the men, and we'll talk more. Actually, next week on the flow we will be doing more of a men's focus. So that'll be really interesting for me. I need some help, guys. So if you have any, let's do that. So next week, Tuesday here on the flow, we will be doing for the men, the king. And if you have questions about your king or man or boy, or you are the man, and want some help or want some
Or
guidance,
you're not sure.
you're not sure how to identify yourself.
How do you know?
Then please comments, questions, let us know what you need to know. That's why we show up here every Tuesday, and just put the show on so that we can help all of you. So GP, wow, more wows from today. I love it. Thank you so much. And hello, I want to say hello to Creative Revolution. I wonder if we're on a speaker somewhere, a cafe or a store. And thank you so much. Please go to this page here. We've got gpwalsh.com/women. Woman, one woman, and
Woman.
one.
Woman.
And as I said, it's actually worth going just even to read the page, because GP's done some beautiful lessons, and you might identify it and go, "Oh, this is why, that's why." So have a peek there. Maybe some questions will come of it, and we'll see you next week, Tuesday, on the flow. Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.